Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Dr. Shekhar Sid from WITS Academy, Bimna, Hamdania Colony, Sector D. Today we are going to discuss about the structure of the chloroplast. This topic is present in the first chapter of the 10th biology, that is life process first. In this chapter we have so far discussed about the nutrition and its types. The first type of the nutrition, that is autotrophic mode of nutrition. That means how plants are able to produce their own food by the process of the photosynthesis. It is because of the presence of this chloroplast they are able to produce their own food. So let us discuss how plants are able to produce their own food by the process of photosynthesis in the chloroplast. This is the whole structure of the chloroplast. You can see yourself that the structure of the chloroplast is very much complex. Chloroplast is a small plastic-like structure that is present in the green parts of the plants, especially in the guard cells of the stomata, and we can say in the mesophyll cells of the leaves, or we can say the green stems of the herbaceous plants. This chloroplast is surrounded by the two unit membranes, that is, it is the bimembranous or double membranous structure. This is the outer membrane that is facing outside the cell, and this is the inner membrane that is facing inside the chloroplast. So, whole chloroplast is surrounded by two membranes. After this, you can see here the ground material or ground substance of this chloroplast, that is matrix-like or hyaline-like structure, that is called the stroma. So stroma is the background material of the chloroplast. After this, you can see here these two structures, they are called as the thylakoids. And in higher plants, we are having two types of the thylakoids, that is large thylakoid and small thylakoid. Large thylakoids are also called as the grana thylakoid, and small thylakoids are also called as the stroma thylakoids. So granum or grana thylakoid, what is the function of this thylakoid? We can discuss it later on. So first of all, let us discuss about the stroma thylakoid. Stroma thylakoid is a thylakoid which is present throughout the chloroplast. That is, it is one end is attached to the inner membrane of the posterior end of the chloroplast, and other end of the stroma thylakoid is present at the anterior end of the chloroplast. That means one end of the stroma thylakoid is present here, and other end of the stroma thylakoid is present here. This end is attached to the inner membrane of this this end of the chloroplast, and this end of the stroma thylakoid is present to this end of the chloroplast. After this, what is the function of this stroma thylakoid? Stroma thylakoid helps in increasing the surface area of photosynthesis. These stroma thylakoids are present throughout the stroma of the chloroplast because they help in increasing the surface area of the photosynthesis. That means more and more photosynthesis process take place by the presence of these stroma thylakoids. After this, we can see here grana thylakoid. This is granum thylakoid, and this is another granum thylakoid. These two grana thylakoids are attached by a channel called as the thread channel. This is the thread channel by which one granum thylakoid is attached to the other granum thylakoid. So it is a type of channel, or it is a channel-like structure or tube-like structure which helps in connection of one granum to the granum thylakoid to the other granum thylakoid. After this, you can see there are ribosome. Ribosomes are also present in the chloroplast. After this, we can see here mitochondria is also present, and RNA is also present. Then DNA is also present. And by the presence of the DNA, this chloroplast is self-replicable. That means it has the capability to divide its own. That means it can help in the formation of two chloroplast. That is only by the presence of the DNA, because it has its own DNA. So this is the chloroplast that we called as the site of photosynthesis. What is the site of photosynthesis? That means this photosynthesis process is carried out in this chloroplast. This photosynthesis process is called the photochemical reaction. Photochemical reaction. Why it is called as a photochemical reaction? Because this chemical reaction is carried out only in the presence of the light. How photosynthesis process take place in this chloroplast? This photosynthesis process starts from here, granum thylakoid. What is actually the granum thylakoid is? Thylakoid is a disc-like structure, disc-shaped structure, which is biconvex. Convex. We can see here that if we close if we close two hands, and you can see this end is bulging outward and this end is also bulging outward. It is called as the biconvex. Same is the case. This thylakoid, it is a disc-like structure. It is also biconvex, and it is also both the ends of it are bulging outwards. So thylakoids are stacked to each other and they form a bundle-like structure or stack-like structure that is called the granum. So this thylakoid is green in color. It is because of the presence of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green-like structure, and we can say that there are different types of the chlorophyll. That is chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, C, D, and E. But especially chlorophyll E is green in color. Chlorophyll A is green in color. That is present on the surface of the thylakoid. After, there are other pigments called as the accessory pigments. Accessory pigments. There are two types of the accessory pigments. One is the carotenoid and another is xanthophyll. Both the pigments are called as the carotenes. These are called as the accessory pigments because apart from this chlorophyll pigment, there are other pigments called as the accessory pigments, or we can say the extra pigments. They are also called as the carotenes, and we are having two types of the carotene, that is carotenoid and xanthophyll. So how accessory pigments help in the process of the photosynthesis? And you can see here photosynthesis process that takes place inside this chloroplast, but that starts from this thylakoid. And on the surface of the thylakoid, there is a chlorophyll, and then there is the accessory pigment. But accessory pigments are very much helpful in the initiation of the photosynthesis process. But photosynthesis process is having two phases. That is first phase, and then after there is the second phase. This first phase is also called as a light reaction, and this phase is also called as the dark reaction. First phase of the photosynthesis process takes place on the surface of the thylakoid. Then the second phase of the photosynthesis, that is the dark phase, that takes place in the stroma. And how photosynthesis process takes place, let us start here. First of all, sunlight is very much important for the process of the photosynthesis. How it takes place and how it helps in the process of the photosynthesis. As you can see, as I already told you, that thylakoid on the surface of this, there are accessory pigments. These accessory pigments help in the trapping of the sunlight. Trapping of sunlight. So dear students, we can say that first of all, sunlight is trapped. That trapping of sunlight takes place by these accessory pigments such as carotenoid and then xanthophyll. So these accessory pigments then transfer the light, packed energy of the light. We can say that is called as the quantum. The quantum energy of the light is transferred to the chlorophyll, and chlorophyll, when it receives the quantum energy of the light, it gets excited. It gets excited. The chlorophyll gets excited, and there is the emission of electrons. Then there is the emission of electrons. When there is the emission of electrons, those electrons are very much helpful in the second step of the first phase of the photosynthesis. In the first step of the first phase of the photosynthesis, first of all, there is the absorption of the light. How absorption of the light takes place? By the help of the accessory pigment, then quantum energy of the light is transferred to the chlorophyll, and chlorophyll gets excited. Then there is the emission of electrons. When there is the emission of electrons, those electrons help in the formation of the ATP energy. But these electrons are transferred, or we can say channelized by electron transport chain. So electrons are carried or electrons are transported by electron transport chain, and through the electron transport chain, these electrons are very much helpful in the formation of the ATP. How ATP is formed? ATP is called as the adenosine triphosphate. ATP is called the adenosine triphosphate. How its formation takes place? Its formation takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. Here, in the stroma of the chloroplast, there are free ADP and there are free phosphate groups, or we can say the inorganic phosphate. Inorganic phosphate joins with the adenosine diphosphate, then this ATP formation takes place. So ATP is formed by the combination of the adenosine diphosphate with the inorganic phosphate. So in the second setup of the phase first, that is the light reaction, formation of ATP energy takes place, because ATP energy is also called the energy currency, because it is very much helpful in carrying out the other steps of the photosynthesis. After this, the third step of the photosynthesis, that is the photolysis of water. As you know, there are two raw materials, that is water and carbon dioxide. These are the two basic raw materials which are very much helpful in carrying out the photosynthesis process. In the third setup, photolysis of water takes place. How photolysis of water takes place? Water is break down into hydrogen and oxygen. Water is breakdown. Water is broken down into hydrogen and oxygen in the presence of the sunlight. This whole process is called photolysis of water. That means photo means light, lysis means breakdown. That means water is broken down in the presence of the sunlight. And there is a release of hydrogen and oxygen. So, in the third step of the phase, first, that is light reaction, photolysis of water takes place. After that, there is a formation of the NADPH. ATP and NADPH. NADPH means nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate. When it has attached hydrogen ion, then it means the reduced nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate, because there is the reduction process. That means there is a gain of the hydrogen. When there is a gain of the hydrogen to the NADP, that means it is called as the reduced nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate. ATP and NADPH both are called as the assimilatory powers. Assimilatory powers, because they are very much helpful in carrying out the other steps of the photosynthesis process. So in the fourth setup of the photosynthesis, that is the light reaction, there is the formation of the NADPH. That means nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate. There is the reduction. Reduction means there is the attachment of the hydrogen ion. So with the attachment of the hydrogen ion, it means that this is the reduced nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate. So in the first phase of the photosynthesis process, first setup, that is absorption of the light by the accessory pigments. That striping helps is carried out by these accessory pigments, that is carotenoid and xanthophyllus. After that, after this second step is the formation of the ATP. Then there is a photolysis of water, breakdown of water. Then there is the formation of the NADPH. After, you can see the second phase of the photosynthesis process, that is called the dark reaction. Dark reaction, it is also called as the Calvin cycle. It is given by Melvin Calvin, and he has received the Nobel award on this cycle called as the Calvin cycle. This name has earned on his name, that is the Melvin Calvin. Here in the second phase of the dark reaction, there is a reduction of carbon dioxide to form carbohydrate. The basic purpose of the whole photosynthesis process is the formation of this carbohydrate, that is C6H12O6. This is the glucose formation. How carbohydrate formation takes place? Here carbon dioxide reacts with, first of all, RUBP, that is called ribulose biphosphate. Ribulose biphosphate. It is an enzyme which combines with the carbon dioxide, and it helps in the reduction of the carbon dioxide. But it takes place only in the presence of NADPH. Already NADPH is formed in the fourth step of the first phase of the photosynthesis. So ribulose biphosphate plus carbon dioxide, then there is NADPH as an assimilatory power. After, again there is Another assimilatory power that is used again here, that is the ATP. So this hydrogen ion that gets attached to the carbon dioxide. So when the hydrogen ion is attached with the carbon dioxide, this means reduction of carbon dioxide. So this hydrogen gets attached with the carbon dioxide. It forms reduced carbon dioxide. So NADPH is the assimilatory power that provides the hydrogen ion to the carbon dioxide. And again, this ATP is used as an assimilatory power by which ATP, by the help of the ATP, this whole reaction that is called that takes place in the dark phase of the photosynthesis, that takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. So these two assimilatory powers are used in carrying out this whole chemical process. So hydrogen is attached to the carbon dioxide, that is a reduced carbon dioxide, and we can say it helps in the formation of the carbohydrate, that is C6H12O6. C6H12O6. After this, here you can see NADPH, it remains only NADP, that is nicotinamide dinucleotide phosphate. After when this ATP is used as an assimilatory power, it provides energy. But how it provides energy? ATP is broken down into ADP plus inorganic phosphate. When the ATP is broken down into adenosine diphosphate plus inorganic phosphate, then there is a release of energy. Release of energy. This release of energy is used in carrying out this whole process. So NADP is released here, then there is the formation of ADP plus inorganic phosphate. Also there is the formation of RUBP, and also it helps in the formation of C6H12O6. So this whole process, which takes place in the second phase of the photosynthesis, RUBP plus carbon dioxide plus NADPH plus ATP, it gives C6H12O6, that is carbohydrate, or we can say the glucose, and there is a formation of ADP and inorganic phosphate. So this chemical reaction, that is the second phase of the photosynthesis, that is the dark reaction. This takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. It takes place only in the presence of these two assimilatory powers, NADPH plus ATP. These two assimilatory powers are very much helpful in carrying out the second phase of the photosynthesis. So RUBP as an enzyme which is used in the reduction of the carbon dioxide. The hydrogen is given by the NADPH, so it remains here only NADP. So ATP is also used as an assimilatory power. It breaks down into ADP plus inorganic phosphate with the release of energy. So the whole purpose of the photosynthesis process is the formation of the C6H12O6. So this is the process that is called the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, it is a process by which plants are able to produce their own food by using two raw materials, that is carbon dioxide and water. But this process takes place only in the presence of light and chlorophyll. These two, light and chlorophyll, are very much helpful in carrying out this whole process. But this process takes place in the chloroplast. That is why it was important to discuss first of all the structure of the chloroplast, then it was very much important to discuss about the how photosynthesis takes place. So this was the topic that is present in the first chapter of the life process, first in the biology of 10th. Inshallah, next time we come up with the next topic. Till then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.